Today is Saturday, April 22nd, 2017. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is the listener feedback show for week 7 of Survivor Game Changers.
That's right. We had a 2-hour episode this week. Really just 2 episodes back to back. But that's always great. We love an hour, so twice is double the fun. Good stuff. And then we got a couple of interviews in. So we got an interview in with Haley and Ozzy. Learned some new things. That was good. I enjoyed that.
They both did very well.
Yeah, they did. And now it's time to check in with the other super fans and see what they thought about this 2-hour extravaganza. See if it worked for them the way it worked for us, huh?
Works for me.
Okay, enough said. Let's check in and see what Pete thought.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. Pete from Boston here. And I gotta say, woo! Yeah, baby. That was indeed a doozy-woozy double episode. Thank you, CBS, for having 2 episodes in one night. So the merge twist is what we start out with. That wasn't too bad. I don't know if they'll go back to that twist. I don't think that made much of a difference. But hey, it's game changes, right? That was just entertaining there with Debbie. And the first part of the episode wasn't bad, but not great either. You knew it was going to be Haley or Michaela going home, but still it was great to see everyone scrambling, and Haley got voted out, which I don't know if that was the right move. But let's get into the second part of the episode, because to me that was the bread and butter. Ozzy and Tai, that was just a pure classic challenge, right up there as a top-tier historic moment for sure. And I knew it would come down to those guys. I didn't think Andrea would last that long. And Ozzy, for the first time in 3 tries, lost that. Kudos to the 50-plus-year-old Tai, who's playing a solid but obviously not great game. And I actually felt really bad that Ozzy got blindsided once again. But then again, his threat status had caught up with him, and they weren't going to let him win every challenge. So I think he knew it was coming, but it was still a blind side. And if anything, hats off to Sierra and Culpepper. They're running the show with Sarah, who looks like is playing a Sandra-like game in the middle. I like Sarah. Still not a big fan of Debbie, even though she made the move, and that double fault was just ludicrous. Once again, she didn't need to play it, but then again, she didn't know where Sarah was going. Andrea and Cirie, I don't know what they were thinking about in targeting Zeek with Aubrey. See, that alliance could have been big, and then Zeek trying to turn on them as well. That is not good when you're going up against a power alliance. They could have shifted the game. Someone like Cirie and Zeek, something could change, but I don't like what they did, especially Zeek there. But I like that Michaela and Cirie are close, too. Can Zeek bounce back? And I hope someone finds another idol. There has to be another idol out there somewhere. They're just not showing us. Oh, and by the way, Ozzy and Haley, this is where they got voted out the last few times they played. Haley was the first member of the jury, just like she was in Worlds Apart, and this is where Ozzy got voted out the second time he played in Micronesia. So, and he's been voted out now 5 times. It was 3 times in South Pacific, if you remember. Wow, so, and Ozzy broke Boston Rob's record, too. So hats off. Great season, and I think more blind sides to come. Woo.
All right, thanks, Pete. Woo. The woo is back.
I don't think there should be another idol out there because Tai got the one from Mana and Nuku, And Troy got the one from the other tribe, Tavua.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't think until one of those were played, there would be another idol out there. What do you think?
Well, there was the one that was abandoned at Nuku.
Yeah,
I don't know what the standing of that is.
I kind of think,
that
though,
could be potentially rehidden. That's
but
within
why?
the context.
Because they did rehide one.
Because it's game changers.
But they did rehide one, and Tai found it.
They didn't really rehide it. It was with the same clue. I wonder if someone missed that clue. He found 2 idols off one clue at 2 different beaches because of the shuffle.
Yeah, I wouldn't think there was 2, though. I think they just went, well, JT's is buried somewhere. It's never going to surface, so we'll put a different one out there.
We're expecting one at Tribal Council based on what Probe said, so you just don't think it's been hidden there yet, is what you're saying.
Oh, at Tribal Council? No, I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work, but I just kind of thought they wouldn't have another one at one of the camps until one of those were played.
Played or lost, left, essentially left the game.
Because usually they don't. So, anyway.
I think Pete's
we'll
right.
See.
I think Sarah's playing a pretty mean game in the middle right now, given what we've been shown at least. She seems to be just sort of floating in the middle. And as long as it's not me.
That's dangerous.
That strategy works exceptionally well at this point, though.
That's right.
As long as you don't stand out and you're like, hey, if it's not me, then that's really been the key to Sandra getting there, using that strategy.
This vote told them that they didn't vote, she didn't vote with them. The 4 that voted for Zeek and Cirie, that group, it told her that Sarah didn't go with them.
Right. This is a point that's going to come up too. I'm sorry, there's another point here that's going to come up throughout the feedback, which is, did Debbie waste that vote or not? And Pete said both things that I've been thinking about. He said he thought that she wasted it, but then there's no way for Debbie to know what Sarah was going to do. So how is it a waste if you don't know?
Well, that was my point, was I didn't think she wasted it. It worked out that it wasn't an advantage, but it could have been. And then she'd have felt really stupid if she hadn't played it and trusted Sarah to vote with them, and she didn't.
Right. This way she had some assurance, right?
Yeah. I think it was just
so I don't see that as coming down in the balance as a waste. I was thinking, but we're going to hear as we go through the feedback, people are looking at it different ways. Okay. Just like Pete looked at it both ways in his feedback there. He was considering both angles.
Then we should hear what everyone else thinks.
Absolutely. Let's move on. We got an email from Rob, and we don't have a location for Rob from we don't know where. Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is my first time leaving feedback. Just wanted to add something about the merge feast. I thought there might be an advantage or an idol hidden by the log where Brad and Tai were sitting. That's good. We didn't consider that. I think several folks mentioned that too. Just like Debbie got an advantage when she was supposedly getting stuck with Exile Island. The show seems to have fun with the idea of flipping the script like that. From what they showed us, Brad and Tai never even looked around. I think you're right, Rob. They may have missed an opportunity there.
Could be.
Of course, if they did, you'd think that the editors would have shown us. That's the only consolation I think that we get in that regard. I like how Rob's thinking for sure, but when there is something there and somebody doesn't find it, or when they're about to find it, we usually get a flash. We get a jump cut to where it is, and it's highlighted, gets a little flash on it. There's something or they hold focus on it, and then they cut to the next scene of the person who's near it somehow, but unaware. There was
no merge feast hidden clue or anything either that we saw somebody find.
Right. Always got to be on alert for those kind of things.
Again, maybe because there's so much out there already.
Could be. Maybe they were feeling a little oversaturated too.
Yeah.
Let's check in and see what Jill was thinking about this double episode.
Hi, Joanne and Stacey. Hi, Survivor fans. Jill from the Outback here. I haven't had a chance to listen to your feedback episode yet, but if I don't get mine done now, I'm not going to have time to get it in before the deadline. I like how Zeek handled himself talking to his tribe after the Jeff Varner vote out, and I liked how he talked to the merged tribe about it as well. It's all out in the open now. Hopefully he can just get it out of his head and play his game from now on. Michaela's really interesting this time. She was so confident in the Millennial Gen X series, and this time she just seems a bit lost. She's not fitting in anywhere. It was interesting to see her and Cirie talk, with Cirie telling her, I used to be you, you have to tone down all your emotions and everything. But then Cirie voted for her at the end, saying, that it was for her own benefit. I still don't get that one. While it would be cool to see the pair of them at the end, I think Cirie's going to cut her out as soon as she can. The merge feast was funny, and having two players sit out from that, I was sure that they were going to be sent somewhere and, maybe get clues to idols or something. But to have them sit so close was almost cruel. They must have been able to smell the food. Although, did you see all the flies crawling all over everything? It might not have been such a bad thing. And Debbie was as nutty as usual. That was just really bizarre. I understand that she was making herself seem very unthreatening, but I don't know if she did it quite the right way. Next week, I reckon Zeek could be in a little bit of trouble, and also Sierra. Maybe not next week, but in the weeks to come, having her set herself up as the leader of that alliance is just going to make her a target, whereas Culpepper really seems to have taken the back seat, and I think that'll keep him in good stead. That'll do for now. Happy days, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, Jill. Yeah, Culpepper did fall into the background a bit, didn't he? I'm with Jill also on the way that played out with Brad and Tai. Just messed with my expectations. I really thought they were going to go somewhere, and then it just fizzled.
Exile or something.
Right? It really fizzled. I think that's a good description. Thanks, Jill. Next up, we got an email from Mikeybear in New Jersey.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. Well, this episode confirmed what I felt all along. Haley had no business being there. To me, she has no respect for the game and really no interest in playing. She did nothing to improve her survivor reputation, and with the exception of Caleb's tribal council and metamorphosis last week, she's done nothing in this game. Joanne, I apologize, but I don't believe that she fought to stay in the game. She didn't scramble, and her performance at tribal was terrible. I would much rather have seen Natalie Anderson play again as opposed to Haley Ford.
Well, yeah, that's a big difference between those two. Yeah. That's a heavyweight and a lightweight.
Yeah. I really do like how Debbie is playing. She's not revealing more than she needs to, and she's not presenting herself in any sort of threat. I will say that she was wrong when Zeek was revealing what happened with Varner to the others. When she jumped in with, which was true, she had no business doing that. That was Zeke's story to tell. I think my favorite part of tonight's episode was when Michaela and Cirie bonded. I was thinking that from before the season even started, that Cirie would be the best thing for Michaela's game if they could get on the same tribe together. Cirie is like Michaela's fairy godmother, and I think it's completely understandable because if you look at Survivor history, there's probably been only a handful of seasons where there have been more than one black female on the show. The two can relate to one another, and I think there's a certain level of comfort for them. So I think it was great to see, and I hope that Michaela is able to learn from Cirie. Ozzy, oh Ozzy, why couldn't you have won that challenge? I know he annoys a lot of fans, but I, for one, have always been a big fan of Ozzy's, and I want to see him do well. At least he can say that he's the only survivor to play 4 times and make it to the merge each time. It's interesting to see how the relationship between Zeek and Andrea has absolutely fallen apart. I think next week's episode is going to be a doozy. Have a great week. All right, thanks, Mikeybear. Haley did say in her interview with us that she fought really hard to stay. They didn't show it, but that she and Michaela were both scrambling to stay in the game, if that helps any.
Plus, you were concerned with her commitment to the game. In the interview, she talked about how hard she had tried just to get back on again. I think that's when you and I were talking after the interview, we're like, that's why she's on this season. just
she kept
because of her
sending videos.
persistence.
Yeah, she was very persistent.
She's like, they must have went, yeah, this lady really, really wants to be on, and she meets some criteria for this season, so.
And then I guess when Natalie pulled
Filled the
out,
slot.
they went, okay, she
Yeah,
really
there we
wants
go.
it. So
She's hungry, at least, at a minimum.
Yeah.
That's got to be one of the number one things to look for
well, yeah, because I mean, I wouldn't think
in a returnee.
previous players would usually send in more videos and whatever, trying to get them put
Yeah,
them back on.
I didn't recall hearing people talk about that.
Yeah, me either. But anyway, I did appreciate the fact that she tried really hard to get back on again.
She definitely comes at the game in a different way than we're used to, though. Yeah. Thanks, Mikeybear. Next up,
And no comparison to Natalie.
we've got a call from Samantha.
This is Samantha, a.k.a. Survivor Rocks from Texas. Well, I think Debbie should have sacrificed her food at the merge to make herself look like a hero. But, of course, it was Tai and Brad that stepped up to the plate. Now, I'm not surprised that Debbie was acting like a fool and acting drunk. I'm loving the merge flag. Good job, Haley. Now, I remember I liked Haley during her first season and had high hopes for her. I did enjoy her on this season as well. We were so bummed that Ozzy is gone, and we're going to miss him. Zeek needs to go. Still not on the Brad bandwagon, but I'm rooting for Cirie. Zeek, I don't think, is very loyal or trustworthy. It wasn't a surprise that Tai beat the legend Ozzy on that challenge. I was surprised that Ozzy's name didn't even come up during the first tribal council. Well, that's it for this week. Keep your torch lit.
Thanks, Samantha. I was a little surprised that Tai won. I know he's a lot smaller, and that's huge, like Yul pointed out in the original challenge, how much mass per, surface area that you're putting that pressure on. And Tai hadn't eaten, but because he hadn't eaten, I was thinking that Ozzy
He should be weaker.
Yeah, that Ozzy would have an advantage when it really drug out. But kudos to Tai for winning.
Well, and we asked Haley if they got to take any of the food from the feast back, and she was like, basically said they strip searched them to make sure nobody
She
got
said
any.
they patted him down, yeah.
Except for Debbie, and I won't
Debbie
even repeat. But
somehow smuggled some food. I think someone else covers it in their feedback.
oh, okay, good.
Yeah, thanks again,
like,
Samantha.
okay.
Next up, we got an email from Sarah from Jamul. Hi, Joanne, Stacy, and loyal Survivor super fans. Thanks to both of you for another great recap. I always find myself agreeing out loud while I listen to your opinions on how things went down, especially this week about not loving Debbie but still recognizing her game playability. Some quick-fire thoughts of my own from this week's episode. Thanks to Zeek for reminding everyone this is a game and let's get back to playing. Can I change my USB to Zeke's flamingo shorts? I sit here from the comfort of this couch each week and comment on what I would do if I were on Survivor. But listen, I've gone full nightmare tantrum mode after missing a single meal. People close to me know it better as hangry. I even have to keep snacks in my purse. So I cannot imagine how I'd navigate facing 20-ish days on minimal food. I wouldn't have the cognitive capacity to opt out of the feast. Brad volunteers his tribute. And Tai, he's growing on me. Ew, that Debbie Troy muffin moment. Nope. All of the nature and landscape footage should be combined into a vacation advertisement for Fiji. Aubrey's like the David Attenborough of Survivor. She always has a succinct explanation for what's going on. Can I change my USB to the roof chicken? Yes, Mama Cirie laying down some truth on Michaela. I love this interaction between them. Immunity challenge. Let's see who can be a blockhead longest. I like that. Good one, Sarah. Get it? Because their heads have blocks on them. You may have guessed I still need hobbies. Andrea for the win. Didn't expect that, but you go, girl. Sierra's confessional about being in charge might be a bad sign for her. I got a vote-off point for Haley. Yay! Whenever there are two people in that hammock, I picture them in parachute pants singing, "All right, stop. Hammock time." Yes, I get that's the MC Hammer reference. Yeah, you can see yourself out now, Sarah. 22 days down. Reward challenge, a.k.a. no fish left behind. Oh, I like that. That's good. Tai is streaking. I doubt that's the sort of advertising Marshalls had in mind when they sponsored this reward. Zeke, buddy, this talk of war and making big moves is exactly what got you voted off last season. Slow down. I'm in awe of anyone who can hold on during that pole challenge. Cirie's my aesthetic for challenges. So many names bouncing around before tribal, I'm not sure I'll get full points tonight after all. Instead of bonus interviews on YouTube, I'd love for the producers to give us a full, uncut tribal council video. I always feel like we miss out on so many little moments. Yeah, we do, but it would upend their narrative for sure. Farewell, Ozzy. Hope everyone regrets this vote when their tummies are rumbling back at camp. Next time on Survivor, looks more like a Real Housewives clip to me. The drama. That's all for me. I'm looking forward to hearing what everyone else thought about this week. Until next time, thanks, Sarah. Good
and
job.
Just to point out, it was Sarah that said she would be showing herself out now after the comment.
Oh, as
it sounded like you were saying, we'll show you out now.
Oh, okay. All right.
No, Sarah wrote that.
Good job, Sarah. Next up, we got a call from Parker.
Hey, it's Parker from Indiana, and man, this episode was great. I love this episode. Survivor, the season is back, and it's great, and I love it. Cirie is actually on this season, guys. She's here. Hopefully, Aubrey starts getting action like Cirie because they both kind of invisible. Cirie, man, she was brilliant in this episode. Brilliant. And, like, that moment between her and Michaela, that was amazing. I don't really like Michaela that much, but, I mean, if you can learn how to play this game from Cirie Fields, then you're going to be pretty good at this game by the time you leave. I love that Cirie was such a highlight in this episode, but it kind of makes me worried. Is she going soon? Is she going next? I don't know, because, the people who have gone home have been heavily in the edit of the previous episode of their exit. I'd love to see her win, because, it'd just be like, man, it'd be so great to see Cirie win. She's made it so far and hasn't gone to single tribal council pre-merge. That's great. That's amazing. And you know what? We kind of saw a downgrade of Cirie in pre-merge, but we have Cirie back, and it's great. Apparently, Debbie actually took some advice from Cochran. She forgave Brad. She learned how to deal with big egos. Debbie used this vote correctly, and it's the first time we've seen it, and it was refreshing to see it used well. Next episode looks interesting. It looks like it's going to be Zeek versus Andrea, and I'm excited. I honestly am. Let's see who comes out on top. All right. See you next time.
Excellent. Good job, Parker. Next up, we got a call from Victoria.
Hello, Joanne and Stacey. This is Victoria again from Maryland. Wow. I was not expecting the second vote off. The first one I kind of understood, but the second one, whew. Oh, Ozzy. When will you learn to look for more idols carefully? Just calling because I kind of felt some sort of way listening and watching the first episode. It was kind of tough for me to watch. The first thing that was really tough was the whole Michaela situation. I don't know. I am a Michaela. Like, I understand exactly how it feels, When you go through a struggle in life, like, you're taught to not show weakness, to always show strength. And so them talking about her facial expressions, I have that resting these days, so I totally understand how people could see it as unapproachable. But I am proud of Cirie kind of being that motherly figure to her and pulling her to the side and letting her know that, hey, you are in a game, a social game, so you kind of got to check yourself. It's tough when you see your culture on TV and the experiences that you have, it's just right in front of your face. Watching that's kind of difficult, but like I said, I'm proud of Cirie for bringing her back to the reality of the game, that you are on TV and that you got to do what you got to do in order to win this $1 million. And then Cirie just totally boggled my mind with the second vote, voting for Sierra. I mean, I would have voted for Sierra, too, just because I'm not really a Sierra fan, but either Sierra or the other Sierra, but yeah, she just confused me on that one. I just wanted to give my 2 cents. The second thing was Sarah. I need her to go. I really need her to go. She kind of got me before when she said she was going to play like a criminal, whatever that means, but I was I don't know if I felt a little offended, but when she was dogging out Tai for not forgiving Varner, I didn't understand that because he didn't really do anything to her, per se. I feel like the only one that should be forgiving Varner is Zeek. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I like to hear what the other feedbackers have to say about this, but other than that, I really enjoyed it, and talk to you guys next week. Bye.
Thank you, Victoria. We appreciate when people are able to share from their personal experience like that and give us another lens, another look at things. Now, what I understood with the Sarah Tai thing was that she wasn't admonishing him because he didn't forgive Varner. It was because he did, unlike Sarah, who was struggling with it. Did I get that backwards? Or
I don't think so.
Okay, all right. So I don't know. Go back, take a look at that again, Victoria. I think it might have been a little different, at least, than how I heard you describe it there. But in any case, regardless of how it went down, I was with you in that I was caught off guard by Sarah's response to Tai initially. Do I want Sarah gone? No, I want to see what she can do. It feels like she's almost making moves, like we were saying earlier. She's floating in the middle. I want to see her really do something, though, to have a significant impact on the game. She's getting to hide behind a lot of people by taking the not, as long as it's not me route. Thanks, Victoria. Next up, we got an email from Nicola in Lexington, Kentucky.
Hello, Survivor family. Well, back to the game with a vengeance this week. I did feel bad for Brad and Tai not getting to eat the merge feast. Tai's reaction to how tall Cirie is cracked me up. It must be pretty overwhelming having to deal with that many people after living in a smaller group, not to mention heightened paranoia. I really enjoyed the interaction between Cirie and Michaela, and hopefully they can work together and get pretty deep. I was not sorry to see Haley go, although I must admit I liked her more after listening to her exit interview and watching her Ponderosa video. Definitely not enough to see her play again, though. Second boot, Ozzy. He will certainly be missed at dinner time. I wonder if Tai will be able to fish as well as he did. Obviously, Zeek is in trouble, and I hope he can get back on track. The next week on Survivor, I'm hoping that Debbie's line in concrete is a red herring, and Brad goes next week. Have a great weekend, everyone. Thanks again for all you do, Joanne and Stacy. Cheers. All right. Thanks, Nicola. Up next, we have a voice clip from Harold.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy and all the Survivor fans. This is Harold from Boynton Beach, Florida. What an amazing merge episode. 2 hours in the books. I wish every episode could be 2 hours. I was reading on a website of the numbers, and this 2-hour episode got the highest ratings on any show that was on that night. It got a 1.7 rating. Awesome job by all of us watching our Survivor or DVRing it and all that other good stuff. But here we go. Let's first talk about Brad and Tai. I think by them sitting out, it just made them stronger, and I think Tai is now going to warm up a little more to Brad, and I believe Tai will probably even come clean and tell Brad that, you know what, I got 2 idols. And the fact that Troyzan's got one, I think that little alliance there of Tai, Troyzan, and Brad will be pretty good, awesome little team to work on. And I'm also saying watch out for Sarah. She is playing pretty good, and I think she's actually getting the winning edit. I don't see anybody else possibly going anywhere. Even though this is my first year in JSFL, I've actually sucked. I think I got like 26 or 27 points. This week, I hate to say it, but I think we can say bye-bye to Zeek. I think he's going to be the big target on this week's episode just because of what happened last week or in this last episode. I think Cirie is going to just drop the bomb on him and go after him full guns a-blazing. But then Cirie, I think the week after we get rid of Zeek, she'll be the one to go next after Zeek. I'd love to hear what you guys think. I think they'll keep Debbie around for just a couple more weeks or a couple more votes just because she's a number, but she's also someone you can kind of count as being hot-headed, not real there with everything, but you can keep her around for a vote. Michaela, I hate to say it, but she is not getting a winning edit either, and that was my USB 24, which I might be changing to Sarah. I'd like to hear what you guys think about it. Tell me what you think, and love the show. Thanks.
Thanks, Harold. Think you should switch from Michaela?
It's probably not a bad idea. Though I should probably switch from Aubrey too, but doesn't mean I'm going to.
Yeah, I don't know if Harold will either. I wonder. I guess that's going to be a theme that we're looking at here, is the part where Zeek goes out. A lot of people are predicting that, and the next time on Survivor made it look like he was in a jam. So I guess so far the front runners in this listener feedback episode, people are thinking Zeek, obvious because of how that went down, and then potentially Cirie.
No.
Yeah, nobody wants. I don't think they want Cirie to go, but like Parker was saying, she got featured a lot. That could have been her swan song, being able to help Michaela along a little bit.
Well,
that's why Harold maybe should hold on to Michaela. Maybe Cirie was there to be Michaela's angel and help her along a little further in the game before Cirie goes under.
Well, I would love to see Cirie win as well.
Yeah, I think that'd be great.
And if I were to change to support someone, it would be Cirie. I'm a little bit afraid to do that.
For the reasons we just stated.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, other than that, I'm like, I don't really want Andrea to win, and I don't.
Yeah.
So there's nobody else I really wanted to actively cheer for, and I'm okay if Tai wins. He's played a pretty good game, I think. I mean, he sometimes sticks his foot in it at Tribal, but
sure. All right, some good things to think about. Thanks, Harold. Next up, we got an email from James in Charleston. Hey guys, Shannon and I were on vacation out of state last week and didn't get a chance to watch Survivor until Saturday. But I considered submitting a blind feedback comparing the audience blindside during Tribal Council with a Korean game show I really like called The Genius. Well, let me say that, boy, am I glad I didn't, because that feedback would have been as out of place as a salad bar at Taco Bell. Before I give feedback on the current episodes of Survivor, I wanted to briefly mention that although I wasn't happy with Varner's epic strategic miscalculation, it was pleasing to see the reaction and how far we've come in society. I feel like we are more accepting in an open society as a whole, and a lot of that is thanks to technology and more accessibility of others outside our small groups. Just using Survivor as an example, you can see how CBS's attitude and editing has changed. It wasn't too long ago that an emotional destruction of another player's psyche was featured without game repercussion, and we applauded the fake death of a beloved family member, among other gray areas of socially acceptable gameplay. But enough of that, because CBS rewarded us with 2 episodes of Survivor, and there was about the merge in the current seasons as opposed to early seasons, is that the obvious targets are no longer available. It used to be that the two sides came together and the side that managed to pick up the majority would take out the strongest player from the minority. The first vote off after the merge was typically a massive threat. In contemporary Survivor, with tribe swaps pre-merge being plentiful and strength and challenges not as important because the person you saved to help you on a challenge today could be on another tribe tomorrow, a lot of typical post-merge vote-off candidates are gone before the merge because they just don't have as much value compared to their threat level. And many of the pre-merge valuable challenge players are post-merge immunity threats. Thus, you get seasons where Tony, JT, Malcolm, and Caleb are voted out pre-merge. The remaining list of immunity run threats is small, and therefore it's little surprise that the biggest threat goes early after the merge, and the first merge boot is a player who has had little impact on the game to this point. But what is lacking after the merge is strategic players. If you are a fan of strategy, the complexity of the strategy in this season and the level of strategic experience displayed by the remaining players is rewarding, and CBS has done a fine job of putting it out there. The ability of the players to listen to another player, agree with them, and then walk away from the discussion having not only convinced the other that they are with them, but also having used the information to their own advantage is pleasing to watch. One thing is clear, there are a lot of chiefs left in the game, as well as several chiefs that don't realize they are actually Indians. It's hard to see a future tribal that doesn't have an impact in the game. Most everyone is affecting the game, and if I'm on the island looking around the group trying to figure out who needs to sit beside me if I'm going to win, I'm a bit worried. This makes for great Survivor, and I can't wait to see how it plays out. Thanks for all you guys do. Until next time. Thank you, James. Enjoyed your analysis there. Next up, we got a call from Drew. No hooligans this time, though. Just the Drew.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. Hey, everyone. This is Drew flying solo this week. I actually forgot completely until late this morning, and so I don't have much time. Let's be quick about this. A good week. Survivor is back. We're into some fun endurance challenges. Those are always interesting. And there's food and there's merge. Lots of things going on this week. So I actually had Aussie to go, but I had the wife pick for me because I was afraid I had been spoiled, but I didn't know if it was rumors. It's always hard not to consider that, even if it's just people saying stuff that doesn't mean anything. And anyway, whether it was true or not, people do crappy things online. Haley was a big surprise, but at least I didn't have her safe. Sorry, wife. She was okay, and your interview was cool, but it's interesting that even she realizes she didn't belong on a season with this theme. But someone who does is Cirie, who for some reason I feel like is just not really on people's minds. But of course that could change in a second, though at this point I hope it doesn't, because I was kind of liking how she was kind of getting Michaela to just realize how she comes across sometimes and how people are reading her expressions, and so that was pretty interesting. I just don't know what to think about Debbie, because at times she is aggressive and uncomfortably, awkwardly unsettling, but then she says she knows what she's doing. I don't know. Oh, and why it's weird when Debbie moons people but cute when Tai full-on streaks at the reward is beyond me. And that's that. Also, hashtag wasted tribal council advantage, just like everyone expected. Kind of a bummer, actually. I thought it was going to make a difference, but no. So, bye-bye, blue eyes and man braids. And by the way, when I say blue eyes, I mean, as Brad probably did, you know, like a nickname for a friend of yours based on one notable aspect of her appearance, not a demeaning sexist pejorative. That's all. Oh, hi, Waffles. Waffles just came to say hello. He didn't want me to be alone the whole time. Anyway, that's all for now. The winner of the week, Cirie. Did anyone else notice that butterfly as it alit so gently upon her head? It's like the island was giving her a little decoration as she shared her wisdom about the game. Loser of the week, Aussie, I guess, but only because he was dethroned in that challenge, and that was his downfall, figuratively and literally. I'm not really on the Aussie train anymore anyway, but he sure is good at what he does on Survivor. Anyway, I'm actually under time this week, so I'm going to send it off just at the deadline. Hope everyone has a great weekend. It was a beautiful day. We took the kids with my parents out to some local gardens, and it was for the Tulip Festival, and it was beautiful. And nice to have springtime, and nice to have Survivor to look forward to. Talk to you later. Bye.
Sounds like a great Saturday morning.
It does.
Thanks for making time to get your feedback in. Good job, Drew. Next up, we got a call from Kenny.
Hey guys, it's Kenny from Dallas. Hopefully I'm sounding a little bit better this week. Well, a lot of the big targets are gone. Sandra, Tony, Malcolm, Ozzy, all these great players in the past are no longer there. And unfortunately, I think it takes a lot of the juice out of the season. I wish they were still around, because I agree with Stacy that we do have a lot of second, third, and even fourth tier people around. And it becomes more or less a regular Survivor season. And I think it's lost a lot of its luster, though it's still a very exciting game, and the gameplay is very interesting. For example, Haley herself seemed to say that people should have taken her to the end because she was nothing spectacular about it, that she more or less had GOAT qualities. I guess what happened to the lawyer bond she had with Brad, I guess that didn't hold, and I guess Sierra maybe wasn't her buddy all along. Give Debbie some credit. She appeared to be the one to have originated the Aussie ouster, and that took some strategy on her part. Having said that, and I feel bad for her for what I guess Haley said about her having a tough life, but when she said she pretended to get drunk and was acting crazy, I'd probably substitute the word acting for is. And every time I see her now, I see the persona of and the vision of punk rock goddess Patti Smith circa 1990. If someone wants to look it up, she looks a lot like her. Who's left? Who's getting a winner's edit? I don't think anybody's getting a winner's edit. Brad, I thought, might be getting a winner's edit, but I think he really is getting a loved one's edit, that maybe we're going to see Monica come back and see him for the loved one's visit, the way he constantly talks about her. And I do appreciate the insight you had for Andrea's tribal council spiel, when she more or less let Zeek have it. I couldn't really make it out in real time, and it seemed that she was truly hurt. The Survivor seasons have always been very beautiful tableaus of the travel-rama that Survivor is. I don't think the waters appeared to have so many different shades of beautiful blue as it did this past week. It almost looked Caribbean-like. It was just gorgeous. And I think one of the highlights of the show, again, is the beautiful scenery that they have. The game is up for grabs. Since I'm old school, I'm rooting for Cirie, and I guess maybe Andrea then. I want one of the older contestants to win it. I hope that Cirie doesn't go out there too strong and get eliminated. I still don't quite understand her voting for Michaela in that first tribal council with Haley. I know what her rationale was, but I don't know how people were supposed to know that she's the one who voted for Michaela. How is Survivor like real life? How is Survivor like hockey? The Chicago Blackhawks just got knocked off last night, Thursday night, and they are no longer the kings of hockey. They were favored to be one of the teams to win the Stanley Cup. We've lost so many big survivors this past year. This is very much like it. We get down to San Jose tomorrow night, Saturday night. They're fighting for their lives against Edmonton in the 6th game. Go see it. It is the greatest reality show in town. Take care, guys. Bye.
Thanks, Kenny. Next up, we got an email from Jack in California.
This was a decent episode after the hard tribal council last week, and it was also the merged episode, which brought some fun 2 hours. That was quite the twist to the merge feast. I think both Tai and Brad bought themselves more time in the game by sitting out of the feast for everyone else to enjoy. I don't know if I could sit out, though. It was interesting to see Debbie pretend to be drunk, but that was also quite entertaining. She is great at pretending, so I thought she pulled it off well. Speaking of which, Debbie has been keeping her experience and what happened at Exile under really good wraps, and I can see her still not tell anyone as to what happened there. I don't quite know what Zeke's intention was by telling everyone on the tribe what happened at the previous tribal council. I guess he didn't want to have it pulling him down, and just having it out in the open helped. What do you guys think his intention was? Also, it was exciting to see Tai pull off the immunity challenge that Ozzy won every time he played before. The spa day was also a fun segment to watch. Take care. All right, thanks, Jack.
Yeah, I agree, Jack. It was really just to get the cloud of that that tribal council, to get it to pass and make sure everything was out in the open. No one felt like something weird had happened or anything like that. So
they could just carry on with the game and, let go.
Surprises, get back. No surprises, get back to the gameplay.
Right.
Thanks, Jack. Next up, we got a call from Joel.
Good morning, Joanne and Stacy. It's Joel from Tampa, and I'm at Epcot Center in Orlando waiting for the start of the Star Wars Dark Side 10K. So my two takeaways from Survivor were, how can I put this? Debbie's shorts looked rather strange during the episode, and then I heard from Haley in another interview that she had smuggled some of the merge feast ham in her shorts and gave it to Tai and Brad. So I was a little bit relieved that that's what the misshapen part of her shorts was. And also, Debbie really needs to find out who makes that shampoo, and she should ask to do a commercial for them. Because I'll tell you what, after that spa day, her hair looked amazing. I've never seen hair look that good on Survivor. Y'all have a great night.
All right, Joel. So you're about to run a 10K and you're having thoughts of Debbie. Nice. Next up, we got an email from Josh the Plush Moose from Massachusetts. Dear Joanne and Stacy, I was happy to see Zeek pull himself back together after last week's drama. I was also glad that he took control of the narrative and how he came out to the rest of the tribe. Hopefully we can leave that whole ugly episode behind us. This week's other observations, Varner wanted to be talked about and be king of Survivor, but did something despicable. Instead, he's become the new he who shall not be named, Lord Varnermort. Okay, that works. The choice was a merge feast or a single cracker. Jeff is no Monty Hall. When Brad and Tai were stuck at the merge feast kiddie table, I wondered if there was an idol clue or advantage hidden there. The only thing missing from Debbie's fake drunk act was a lampshade. Ty's in camp. The roof looks like a big nest. No wonder the chicken laid an egg up there. So far, it looks like Debbie is sticking to the Cochran plan. Cirie telling Michaela to get unhungry, unmad sounded like a Snickers commercial. It did, yeah. I don't care what cute name the producers gave it. That was the Blockhead Challenge. Second vote for the Blockhead Challenge.
Yep.
Sierra says she's the sheriff, but I think she's a deputy. Like Barney Fife, she only has one bullet and may not be the best a shot. After seeing Haley's weird arguments at tribal council, I wouldn't want her representing me in court. The reward challenge played like a bad Dr. Seuss tale. Orange fish, blue fish, all fish, too few fish. We shop at Marshall's. I've never seen showers or streakers at our local store. I thought Debbie was in the Civil Air Patrol. Now she's moonlighting with the Air Force Reserve. I was surprised that the Ozzy versus Tai pole-sitting showdown didn't last longer. Andrea really hates former friend Zeek. I'm not sure where that came from. I'm with you, buddy. I'm not sure either. Will Debbie get credit for ensuring Ozzy's exit, or scorn because her extra vote wasn't needed in hindsight? After Sarah's talk at Tribal about dating, I expected her to swipe left when voting. Ozzy's good luck eating exit line lacked class. Next time, battle lines are drawn. Do the generals know which side their troops are on? Anyways, that's all I have for now. Thanks, Joanne and Stacy, for all you do. Can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Thank you, Josh. Next up, we got a call from Jodi.
Hi, Survivor family. It's Jodi in Brisbane. I am having a much better week this week, but
excellent.
My glasses broke. I've got 2 assignments due and 5 exams in a week, and my glasses broke. I'm wearing these really old ones that it's like looking through glass with Vaseline smeared on it. So I've written some notes, but I'm not sure how well I'll read them. So, hi. How interesting is this season? Almost all of the doubted returnees have formed the majority alliance and are running the show. I'm interested in how the composition of the merged tribe will affect the decision making on the votes at the final tribal council. I'm half expecting a shift of thinking. Yeah, I'm interested to see how that works. I wonder if Ozzy should have fallen off the pole earlier to make people think he's no longer the Jungle Boy prototype sort of thing. Like, nobody looked at him at the first, well, you know, not many looked at him at the first post-merge tribal. He's not viewed as a guy with social or strategic strength. So I think for Ozzy version 5.0, I hope he gets a pre-game beer belly and learns how to lie. Yeah. So Cirie is so much fun to watch, and Michaela just sort of looked like she was coming alive under Cirie's wing. There's little glimpses of millennial Michaela, and I hope she can turn a game around because I really enjoyed millennial Michaela. And I really like seeing Cirie, you know, this mentorship role, and her cracking herself up when she voted for my USB-C era was really funny. Sierra has the look of a feral cat, and I was hoping she'd go to the Marshall's reward and help herself to a tidy up. Thank you for explaining what Marshall's was, by the way. That was very helpful. Does the girl ever do laundry? That shirt she's wearing looks like it could have stood up and danced with Debbie. It's manky. Debbie is a kooky cat. I liked her playing the extra vote. There was a bit of talk about how, you know, it turned out not to be required, but, you know, she's made history in playing that successfully for the first time. And, you know, a little insurance policy for people going against the vote. Yeah, I thought that was pretty good. The rest of her is just crazy. So that's all I have today. I hope everyone is well, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.
Awesome. Great job, Jodi. Glad you're feeling better. Next up, we got a clip from Ronda.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. Hi, everyone. It's Ronda from Portland. I just wanted to say that I really enjoyed the first hour of the last episode. I thought it was great to see Cirie in action, and I loved what she was doing. And then the second hour, I kind of thought, Cirie's going to get voted out. So it was really making me nervous. I thought it was kind of the rise and the fall of Cirie. I was really happy to see that she didn't go. I do have a feeling that her time is limited, though, and if they're smart, they will probably get her out next. I think that would be my prediction for what's going to happen next week, is that it's either Cirie or Zeek who goes out next. As far as Haley going out, I don't really have an opinion on that. She never really did anything for me. And I've never been an Ozzy fan. I'm a Yule girl all the way, so I didn't really care about him going out. I thought it was really wise of them to do. And I gotta give credit to Debbie. I mean, she's the one who did it, and I just don't get what they're doing with her edit. They're making her look flighty and crazy, and then they're making her look really smart. So I'll be really interested to see how everything plays out with her. I'm just not enjoying Tai. I don't know if anyone else is feeling the same way. I'm really getting tired of him, and a little surprised about how everybody was saying that Sierra was the one running the show when we all kind of thought it was Brad. I guess that's it. Excited to hear what everyone else has to say, and I will talk to y'all next week. Okay, bye-bye.
Thanks, Rhonda. Next up, we got an email from Beth in Virginia.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. As excited as I was for 2 hours of Survivor this week, I wasn't able to stay awake for the whole episode, probably due to working in the yard for about 4 hours on Wednesday.
Whoa.
I dozed off during the second tribal council, reading the votes. I didn't bother rewinding since it seemed pretty straightforward, so I was surprised to hear in your recap that Debbie had used her advantage. Yesterday I watched all of Tribal Council so I could see what I had missed. Historically, the extra vote advantage hasn't been very helpful to those who used it. This is also true to an extent with Debbie, since Ozzy would have been voted out even if Debbie hadn't used her vote. However, I think that because Debbie used it earlier in the season than the other extra votes have been used, she may escape the so-called curse of the extra vote. As the group gets smaller and smaller, the power of the extra vote increases, but it can also make the owner of it overconfident and perhaps more likely to be blindsided. So it may be a good thing that Debbie used it early, even if it was wasted on this vote. It also probably solidified Debbie's place within the alliance, or would it be a voting block or trust cluster?
Nice.
That currently has the numbers advantage. Do you think Debbie was wise to use it, or should she have held on to it longer? And if Debbie makes it to final tribal, do you think her use of the extra vote would work to her advantage, showing that she was willing to make a move? Or would it be seen as a negative, since she didn't use it as effectively as she could have? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Thanks. All right. Thank you, Beth. I think that she used it the way that was best for her, because if she had gone after Ozzy and then for some reason Sarah didn't vote and it didn't work out, I think it would have looked a lot worse for her. So again, I don't see it as wasted per se, even though it kind of worked out that way. I don't think that she had a choice but to take a chance on that.
I want to think that she did her best to read the scenarios, and maybe not having complete faith in Sarah, she thought, I really better go ahead and do this. And the waste assessment only comes in hindsight. There's no way to know going in. So it's a gamble. Maybe could have used it to greater effect later, but yeah, I like what Beth's saying, because I think she'll get a little bit of a pass on this. Using it, Debbie gets to claim some win around Ozzy, right? Taking out a big target, and then it gets diminished, I guess, because it wasn't necessarily needed. So I think overall, I think it'll be a positive balance in Debbie's favor.
And she got to reiterate again what she had to give up out there in order to get this advantage.
Yeah, reinforce her narrative there, right? Good deal. Thanks, Beth. Next up, we got a call from Jen.
Hi, everyone. This is Jen in California. Well, 2 hours of Survivor is always better than 1 hour of Survivor. Although, I feel like this episode didn't quite have the punch that previous episodes have had. But I think it's because I found myself just being really overwhelmed with how many survivors I had to keep track of. At one point, about halfway through, I thought to myself that I really think I need to just go back and start the episode over and chart who is talking to who and who's aligned with who, because I was really very lost. I had a feeling that Ozzy was going to be in some trouble. I think we all kind of had that feeling. The fact that talk at tribal councils recently was of throwing votes his way and getting Ozzy out because he's such a big threat really didn't bode well for his longevity in the game. So that wasn't a complete surprise, and I was sorry to see him go so early. I feel like all the big players are just dropping like flies. I kind of feel like the Haley vote was a vote that could have been saved for later. I mean, I get that the first merge vote is all about drawing alliance lines in the sand and things like that, but I don't know, I guess the TV viewer in me wanted to see something bigger, but I guess it made logical sense that she wasn't a significant person in any alliance, and in the interest of keeping your number strong, she had to go. I enjoyed the fish puzzle challenge, the whole thing from beginning to end. I thought that it was fun. I thought that the human side of forgetting the fish in various places was fun to watch and added to the excitement. And I was also surprised to see 2 endurance challenges for immunity back to back. That was pretty intense. And boy, is Tai going to be just tough to beat in terms of endurance. I mean, he is just a machine. What else can I say? I mean, he beat Ozzy, and with 2 immunity idols in his back pocket. Boy, he's really set himself up well. That's about it for me. I don't have a whole lot to say. I thought this was a good, solid episode. It was enjoyable to watch, but honestly, my biggest question throughout the whole episode was, has anybody noticed this about Cirie? She has blue nail polish on her fingers. She had blue nail polish at the beginning of the game, and that blue nail polish is still there 20 some odd days later. I am fascinated that it's still there. I'm somebody who wears nail polish nearly all the time, and it chips an hour after I put it on. So how is she making it all this time with completely blue nails? I swear I think that the nail polish is in like the emergency kit that they had on the island somewhere, and she is touching up constantly. Anyway, weird thing to be thinking about, but really honestly, that was all I was thinking about. Check it out. Till next week. Bye.
I'm with you. You can't help but see it.
Yeah, it's
From
definitely
the very beginning. It's just kind of out there.
And that shirt that could stand up on its own, too. Those are both standout elements for Cirie right now. Thanks, Jen. Next up, we got a quick email from Shannon in Charleston. Hey, Joanna and Stacy, I missed last week's feedback because of spring break. I hope everyone had a wonderful spring break like I did. So the merge finally started, and I think Brad was thinking like I was, that there might be an advantage if he skips the feast, and maybe Tai thought that too. And Haley and Ozzy went to Ponderosa. I've been watching it with my dad. Debbie didn't have to use her advantage, but she wanted to change the game, so that's what she did. Thanks, Shannon. Next up, we got a call from Paul.
Hey, Paul in Louisiana here, and we have merged. And at that merge feast, I was waiting, or actually hoping, to see the rewards get switched after our 2 players had been selected. In other words, crackers for the non-volunteers and feast for the volunteers, because wouldn't that have been fitting this season? But I was let down. At the feast, I must say that Debbie did a great fake drunk, if she truly didn't drink anything. And she apologized to Brad? Wow, now she can vote him out with a clear conscience, but I'm thinking that he's going to outlast her. More on that later. I have to admit that I will never understand what the immediate need was to get rid of Haley. It seemed like a wasted tribal to me. When Ozzy lost immunity, I expected him to be a goner, because how can you let an opportunity like that pass? And I'm going to confess something here. I was honestly lost on parts of what was going on with Zeek and Cirie and Sierra, because I wasn't sure what Cirie was shooting for. In the end, I figured she trusted Zeek, but he went ahead and screwed things up. I'm still not sure if he played into her hands or if he did the unexpected. And speaking of Zeek, well, he's reverted into that person that Varner was kind of warning them about before he got all personal. Now people are seeing how he played last season. And don't get me wrong, I like him, but he tends to go full throttle without realizing that he's being bolstered by overconfidence. Moderation, dude, it gets you further. So Cirie gets a lot of screen time in these 2 hours, and I absolutely loved it. This is my favorite player back in full form. But by the end of the second episode, well, things aren't quite as rosy for her. Then again, this is Cirie, and we've seen how she can shake things up, which she's probably done with that vote for Ciara. I've got to say that I had low expectations for Cirie getting deep in the game, but she's made the jury now, and she's truly the last legend status player, which gives her an advantage because I don't think anyone else has nearly as much going on for them in terms of strategy. Cirie has a reputation for coming out ahead of the odds, and I'd love to see that happen again. If anyone can make these newbies turn on each other, it's Cirie, and I'm glad to see her start playing this season. And here's the part where I incorrectly picked the next person to go. Debbie is playing hard and revealed a secret which may not go over too well with people, so I'm going to go out on a limb and pick her to be voted off. I also need a USB because I have little faith in Michaela. I feel like Joanne, though. I hate to give up all those points that I have invested in her, so I'll probably make my decision after the feedback. And I guess that's it for me this week. Bye now.
It's called the sunk cost bias. Yep. It affects us
you
all.
say so.
Yeah, they have a name for it. It's so prominent.
Okay. I have been thinking about why Cirie would throw that vote to Ciara, and I'm wondering if it's because she was looking ahead to the next vote off and wanting them to target Zeek because they feel like he's turned on them and that group has the numbers right now, and she wants them to focus on Zeek because I still think she thinks she might can pull Sarah back.
Cirie has to get them fighting each other while not looking at her, and so that she can build a coalition to take control. Because she's in a similar place to Zeek. She realizes she doesn't have the numbers for what she needs, so she's working on it. She gave herself cover by voting for Michaela while helping Michaela, and now she's stirring it, but she's stirring it up over there with Ciara by throwing a vote her way. So yeah, she's definitely playing multiple moves ahead.
Ciara will probably think, "Oh, Zeek did it. Probably Zeek did it. He probably
or
because I told him
just someone else. Yeah, it'll make her worry. For sure.
Well, that's what you want. You want to start the paranoia.
Yeah, she sowed the seeds of discontent, for sure.
But where does Zeek have to go? If Andrea is so angry, and yet Andrea's group doesn't have a chance without Zeek. They don't have a chance to get the numbers.
Yeah.
Zeke and Sarah would have to stay with them or flip somebody else, and the others seem pretty solid. Brad, Debbie, Tai, Troy, and Ciara seem like a pretty solid five. And they think Sarah's with them now because she voted with them this week, but that's no guarantee. They really need to have another alternative, so maybe they'll pull Zeke in. But I don't know if Ciara will agree with that. And yet, if Andrea doesn't see that, she got to have numbers too. So I don't know where she was going to go with that either. Not that she should trust Zeke, but she's going to have to at least use him as a number.
Yeah,
if he's
sometimes
willing to
you got to pull someone you think that's an enemy. You got to keep them close. I've had to do that at work many a times to get something that I wanted accomplished done. It's just a fact of life that you have to make those kind of alliances with folks that you don't agree with.
That's right. And the next talk will be Cirie to Andrea saying, "You really have to keep that under wraps. I know you're really mad at him, but you're going to have to not go there."
Yeah, I'm not sure where Cirie's going to build her numbers either. Again, she doesn't have to worry a whole lot as long as she can keep them going after each other.
But
if she can get those idols to start slinging, that would be most impressive, because we're looking, imagine when they're down to 6 and Tai and Troy are still there, right? Where 4 different idols could come into play. I really keep expecting that Tai's going to play for other people.
Well, he could, but I don't think it'll be for anybody on Cirie's side. He seems pretty loyal to Brad and that group.
Yeah, but we know Ty's history.
But
Ty
that's
can
true,
be
too.
undone with just a little bit of talk. Look what Aubrey did. So can Cirie do that and more? You betcha. Yeah.
We'll
Excited.
see.
I'm stoked thinking about Wednesday already.
Yeah,
I
I
don't see a future for Zeek right now, though.
I think everybody's surprised at how angry Andrea is, but I really feel like that she's accessed that human part that feels really hurt because, like she said, I've had an alliance with him since day one.
Mm-hmm.
And she feels so much more betrayed because she really trusted him.
Right.
She thought they were solid.
Yeah.
And so she falls into that category. Doesn't matter how many times you played and that you know that everybody's going to...
Or it's human.
It's just human.
You feel more betrayed the
Yes.
closer a relationship
Yes.
is every time that happens.
Absolutely.
It stings more because you have higher expectations,
And
whether
it's-
they're well-founded or not.
It's not that she doesn't understand the game. It's
Yeah.
just a human reaction.
So it'll be interesting to see if she can recover from that before she goes out, because she's an obvious target to go, just like Cirie is. Of
I'd much rather see her go than
the
Cirie.
remaining players with lots of experience, they're the two standouts, I guess. And Andrea's not even really in the same category as Cirie.
Yeah.
People who get voted out holding an idol, I don't think count in
Well,
the same category as
I'm
Cirie.
I'm with Andrea in the respect of I just don't know what Zeke thought he was doing to go about it that way with people he didn't have a close relationship with.
The reality of the situation may be that he's just kind of off the rails after what happened at that tribal.
Maybe.
It's one thing to talk it out and to see what looked like composure, but that kind of stuff can rock you, and if you're not careful, you'll continue to circle back on it, and it can just sort of unhinge you from time to time. He may still be struggling with a lot of that, and he has to be thinking, what's this going to be like when I get back? What's this going to be like when this breaks in front of millions of people? I mean, yeah, you can try to compartmentalize it, but it's going to be there, and he's going to be spending energy on it that he really can't afford to. So it may end up being his undoing after all. I'm not sure he's the next one to go, though. I think they're all wanting to prove points and show that they can outthink the other. So it may not just be the obvious to take him out.
He's not as dangerous if no one wants an alliance with him.
Exactly.
So they don't have to worry about him immediately
Right.
because nobody trusts him.
He might have lost a lot of his overall value.
That's what they're showing
Right.
us. I don't know that nobody trusts him, but that's what they're showing us is, people don't trust you now.
And certainly people are talking about their lack of trust in you, which
Right.
can cause other people to question it too.
Right.
To Sarah's credit, she's looking for opportunities, so she's open to having a discussion with him. But 2's not enough for their number. So this could be a big episode for Sarah coming up. Who knows? Maybe she'll be able to rescue Zeek floating out there on his own and put something else together.
Well, I don't think Sarah would have numbers to target anybody else. So you would think she would be targeting part of the main group that thinks she's in with them to use Zeek. And at that point, if Sarah's the one that's working with Zeek to get him in with them, and she can work with Andrea and Cirie, that Andrea doesn't have to have any communication with Zeek.
Right.
So it could still work. That if they're smart, they'll stick together and try to get some kind of control over the numbers.
Do you think we'll see an idol played next week with 3 that could come into play? That someone's going to feel the need to?
That's a distinct possibility if they get any clue who's going to be voted for. Ty will protect. I think he would use it. Yeah, I think he would probably use it
to
for
protect Sierra again?
most of them. Sierra, Brad.
Yeah, I agree with you that he could.
Maybe even Troy or Debbie. I think he would. I think Troy will just keep his
Oh
quiet.
yeah, he would, wouldn't he? That would be
Unless
something
he's
to have,
in danger.
Have Ty play one for him.
For Troy,
and
yeah.
then him to turn around and have one himself. Goodness, that would be an interesting twist.
We don't know that Ty's told anyone anything.
Right. Doesn't seem to be the case. Yep.
But if they're down to it, Ciara read it on his face last time. So she's like, no, wait. What,
but he
Ty?
must be doing good. She didn't pick up on anything that we've seen, at least.
Well, I don't think she'd hesitate to ask him, Ty, you don't have an idol, do you?
Yeah,
that we could use to keep us
just
in
jokingly.
the game again. Well, not even jokingly, just asking.
Yep.
So.
All right. Well, I'm excited already for Wednesday. Thanks to everyone who sent in your thoughts and predictions this week. Got the juices flowing. We're already thinking about the next episode and found new insights into the two that we had just seen. We also want to say a huge thanks to Emily, Doris, and Ray for your donations. We greatly appreciate that. The voicemail costs us, the storage costs for the hosting provider costs us, the names get at sfp.com, all that comes at a cost, and we greatly appreciate it when you guys can help out with that. Thank you very much.
Don't forget to make your JSFL picks before the deadline on Wednesday. This week will be your only chance this season to select a new USB. If your USB is already out of the game, and you can choose another one for a possible 5-point bonus if they win. If your USB 24 is still in the game, like me and Paul, you can change that to someone else for a possible 10-point bonus. You give up the 24, but be sure before you change that, because if you change your USB 24,
no takebacks.
You can't go back to it for USB 24. You would still go back to them for USB 10. It just doesn't work that way, so be very, very sure before you change it.
When you click that submit button, you're giving up those 14 points.
Yeah.
Just be clear. No undo, nothing like that. You've made your choice.
Well, good luck to everyone, because I think I'm going to stay, but I have thought about it a few times.
Yeah, I'm wrestling with Sarah, Ciara, Brad. These all seem like reasonable choices now that the cream of the crops got knocked off. Aubrey's never found her way in. I think they're going to take Andrea and Cirie out. I struggle with choosing Debbie, and I can't. I'll be surprised if Michaela doesn't blow up her own game without help from Cirie if Cirie gets taken out. And I don't know. I don't see Troyzan and Zeek making it either. So, yeah, I got to think about those three. I guess Sierra's got an advantage that could help her.
So you're basically
at least
saying
get to the end.
That you think the final three is going to be Brad, Ciara, and Tai.
Maybe.
That's basically what you just said.
Well, I was saying Sarah, too.
Oh, Sarah, too.
Yeah, I was considering Sarah. I didn't say I was considering Tai, I don't think. I mean, I have, but then I quickly discount it. Maybe I shouldn't. He's got 2 idols, and we've seen how big of a fan
he's
favorite
had 3,
he is.
And he's made big moves.
He's definitely made big moves.
And he's charming.
He can't take full credit for them, but yeah, certainly, I guess he seems like a dark horse win to me. I can't believe that he can maintain a consistent enough game to be valued for his effort in the end. Just sort of not blow it again.
He beat Ozzy.
He's got a different story this time for sure.
He took out Malcolm and he beat Ozzy.
Story's way better. Yeah, he took out Malcolm with Brad telling him what to do. So it's not like he gets full points, but yeah, he definitely gets some points for being able to pull the trigger. He had the gun to make it happen.
That's right. They would have had no options without his idol.
Yeah, it looked like a sure thing that one of them was going down.
Okay, well, we will think about that until the deadline.
As we ponder our choices. Good job, everyone. Have a good one.